Oh,
Yes.
is it the or the air?
The or the, what is it?
Well, well.
And see, that's why when I say apple,
That's a
some
dumb
people say
matter.
it's not apple.
It's apple.
Apple. I've never heard of
Depends
apple.
on where you're from, though.
Oh, okay, because I say apple and people
You
look
do?
at me like, yeah.
I've never heard of.
Like tomato.
Yeah. Why you looking like that?
I've never heard of apple. It sounds like you're just so.
How do you say it? How do you say
Say
it?
apple.
How you say it?
Apple.
What's the difference?
Yep.
That's what I said.
No, you didn't. You said apple. Apple.
Well, anyway.
Like I said, depends on where you come from.
Snitty, just apple. Of course, darling.
Do we have Snooty people in Westwood?
Hey.
You got them
I think
all over.
Snooty kind of skipped our beat.
No, they here. They bougie.
I mean, they're here now.
Oh,
thanks to
yeah, they are
gentrification,
so
but, I
big.
mean,
Oh,
I was
no,
like,
I can't. Sit down and have a.
Klondike.
well, I'm not making you any apple pie.
I hope not, 'cause I wouldn't want to know what an apple is.
Listen.
Oh my gosh. Is there such thing as an apple? But anyway, we'll talk about that another day because we have some guests here that
We have
they
gas.
don't want to know about an apple, but I know they want to
Mine
hear
sound
about
like
apple. I know they kill for apple.
Yeah, I love apples now.
Not an apple. It's so close to opera. But anyway, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
We
us.
have to
Our
give
pleasure.
Why
introduction
you
so
had
we
to
give
interrupt
the
my clapping?
applause. Because you're clapping, because we got to give them another clap.
Okay.
You know, after
You
you
didn't even get one. You talking about
I
winning.
know, because you
But
just
you, but I gave. You talking about me.
Yeah,
Now I gotta get all over
I,
here.
you know, I try to support you. I couldn't support you on that one. They got to get a proper introduction.
You gonna support me? It's $5.99.
It's $5.99.
Five was taxed, so $6.13.
I got $5.92.
That's get it. Baby.
99 and a half won't get.
So who are our guests? Let's introduce our guests.
Yes, do that. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we do have, and y'all gonna love this. Thank you, because I thought of this myself. And one thing I wish Sonia would be more involved in the programming here because she leaves everything to me. But that's a good thing because I actually have two guests here you are going to love. I have the founders of a group called Covenant Rescue 911. We have Evangelist Nefertina Serrano. And we have Mr. Richard Serrano here, and he just put this huge tablet in front of me to make sure that I get everything. So I know y'all can't see that already.
Just in
First
case.
of all, thank you guys for joining us. We got to give you our applause.
We're just excited. We're just
It's
excited.
awesome. You clap, we clap.
Sound effects like I asked you to get. No, they added to it. That's made it seem like it was some people.
It's a
in
double
here.
clap.
We can't clap while we clap.
Yes, we can.
Bring it
Because we clapping because they here.
Oh, wow. All right, we're going to stay here.
Yeah, we got to
Gotta do that one more time.
Okay, well, we're going to do it again.
We're going to do it again? Do I say the whole name and everything or just do the claps?
No, you got to start over.
Okay, we have. Look,
Gosh.
see, this is what happened. This is
Off,
why I
off
need
the
my
air, you
own
going
show.
to get it.
I'm in trouble. We have the founders of Covenant
Who?
Rescue 911, and we're going to tell you what that is in a second. But first, I want to introduce our guests, Richard Serrano and Evangelist Nefertina Serrano. First of all, let's give them a round of applause. They sat there so stoically and didn't applaud. You know, thanks to my abusive and tyrannical host. First of all, guys, thank you very much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having
You're
us.
welcome.
Thank
you
you.
for having us too.
And you were telling me when you came in a little bit about Covenant Rescue 911. I don't know where this idea came from, but this is I'm loving this. So where did it come from? We'll go ladies first.
Well,
And she
it was
passed
his
the ball
vision.
back to
Well,
it.
Covenant
It was
Rescue
his
because
vision.
God has given us different things. So God has given me Covenant Rescue 911 because we was actually counseling a couple that was really serious and it was very different. And we went to church and we didn't want to be in church. And I spoke to God and I said, God, I don't want to be here because my heart was with the couples. Both of our hearts was. And he says, okay. So I'm like, yeah, I want to be with them, you know. And he says, 911. And I said, 911? He says, if you can't be with them, dispatch somebody who can. And I said, wow. And I said, okay. And then he said it again. He said, 911, dispatch somebody who can be with them. And I said, I got it. So I started writing, and he just gave me the whole program in church. And when I came out of church, I showed my wife, and I said, look. And she said, where did you get that from? I said, God. God inspired.
So let me read into this. You were in church, and
third pew, the third pew.
Third
pew.
Yes, number 3.
And
Close
the
to the
preacher
front.
was preaching.
Yes.
And you were down there writing, so you weren't paying attention, were you? No, I'm only kidding.
Listen to God.
I'm only kidding.
I had to listen to God.
And so after you wrote it, and he brought it home and gave it to you, and he told you what happened. What was your first? I mean, when you first read it, what was that? Your first immediate response?
Listen, I was almost speechless, and that don't always happen. But literally, it was like, man did not reveal that to you.
That's right.
Could not have.
That's right.
Because it was the program pretty much from beginning to end. It was a full understanding of what Covenant Rescue 911 would look like, what it was for, what's its purpose, why he needs this now. And, you know, when you get something like that, you know that was truly divine and inspired by something other than yourself. Yeah.
And something you said I really like. I mean, I like the whole. This idea to me is so unique. I really like it, and I definitely like the reason it's formed. But you wanted to be among the couple. You were in church, and I say that all the time. You know, when you read about Jesus in the Bible, you never read about him only a couple times in the temple. Most of it, he's outside.
That's right, ministering to the people.
Right, ministering to the people. So now that was how long ago? What happened after you introduced it to your wife and you two said it was a go? What did you do next?
Well, after that, I just started really searching to see who would be involved with the program. So what other organization, what churches. So I shared this with Dr. Willie Richardson, which is Christian Stronghold.
Yes.
Their foundation is counseling, and they do all counseling. So we shared it with him, and he was so excited, and he said, you know what, in 25 years, he's never heard anything like this. Because the way God presented it to us was that whenever the calls come in, we would have a church or a program near that caller, and then that person or that couple would actually go to the program and get counseling and get help. So this way, if like we have over 200 churches in the program now, so if we have other churches like in Florida, because we got a call from another country too, New Mexico,
from Nigeria.
We didn't have anybody over there, so we had to service them ourselves by phone. But that's the plan. So when I presented that to Dr. Willie Richardson, he says, this is incredible. So we talked more about it, and we said, you know what, let's get it going. We got the number, the hotline, 24-hour hotline, so they can call 2, 3 in the morning, and we just started working on it and started getting things together, and here it is today. It's a program.
And so tell me, how does this work? Now, it's first of all, tell me the mission, the mission, the vision, your vision for this. For Covenant 911, Covenant Rescue 911, and then walk me through the actual steps. Like if somebody called, what would happen? Okay, that's like 3 questions in one.
Yeah. Want to do the mission first?
So the mission is to really reach not only married couples, but couples that are in a relationship that are gearing or leaning toward marriage. So if you're in an active relationship that is looking toward marriage, because we believe that, you know, a lot of times you're sent to premarital counseling. But this is a nice way that if you're going through a moment in your relationship, not only through that you're in the relationship, it gives you an opportunity to say, let's get some weighted understanding of what we're going through. Because a lot of times couples are going through things and they really don't understand how we got to this period, how we're at this moment. And so here we are there to help them through it.
Right. Now, the intake process is when they call us, we fill out a form. We find out what their needs are, because when they call, we make sure that they're at a safe place. It's not an emergency where if they're being abused and things like that, or harassed and things, then we have to call the police or have them call 911 in their area. So we want to make sure that that's clear. But we want to make sure that they're safe in their relationship, if, whether or not they need prayer or they just need to be, just to talk through so they can get to the next phase in their life, the next day. Because for some 2, 3 in the morning, it can just be really just a conversation that went wrong, and then an attitude, it could really erupt into a bad place. So we do an intake form, find out what their situation is, and whether or not they need premarital counseling. We find out what their status is as far as marriage. If they need a psych or if they need other therapy, then we have other programs that we can refer them to. So we also have a refer system that we refer them out as well. And then we follow up. We make appointments with them. We schedule where they can have counseling. And it's like anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks with the counseling program that we do with them.
And you two, I'm reading here, have been married 28 years.
29
years.
Going on 30, yeah.
So they know what
29
they're
years,
talking
ain't
about.
counting.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, because I know you're sitting next to each other. But have you ever had to call Covenant Rescue on each other? Like, come get them. Come get them.
No, but understanding that we do have a mentor program. We do, when we are in a situation that we think we need some intervention, we do have people that we can go to. I believe that everyone should have someone. We should all have mentors. We should all have counselors. It's the word says, in a multitude of counsels, there is safety. And so we believe in that. We believe in that. That sometimes it's just a matter of getting a third perspective or getting input to the situation to help you see it a little differently. Because it does really, every confrontation takes an opportunity to look into the mindset of the person, because it really could be just your own perception, and not really an urgent matter.
Now, I do want to say that I had to call some years ago for counseling, because, as men, as women, you turn 50 years old, things happen, things change. I didn't want to spend any money. I was at a place where I'm like, I'm getting older here. So things started changing. And I needed some counseling, some guidance, and then I was looking at things different. I mean, we've been married a while. We've been through it all. We've lost cars. We've lost homes. We've lost everything. We thank God we didn't lose our minds, but we went to a place where we was going to commit suicide together. So that's why, listen, when you go to that bad place, man, God can only bless you after that, because there's nowhere else to go when you hit rock bottom, man, but up.
And that's what people need to hear. Who helps the helpers? If people go to the helpers, like I'm going to go to them, and they have the answers, but they have the answers because they once had the problem.
Absolutely.
And it's not so much that, we need to, but we need to, because we're on the outside. On the outside, they look so.
They look. That's right.
Oh look how he
They
looks.
ain't been through nothing.
Behind closed doors, we don't know that you were.
Right.
We don't know about that finance. We don't know about. We don't
About the
know.
loss.
We just see on the
About
on the outside. They just, and I want that.
And to let people know that they can
But
relate.
because you had those issues for 29 years, it wasn't easy. And we need to hear that, because reality kicks in. People seem to think that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get married. We're gonna live just like them. You have no idea. When we close the doors, who breaks down first?
Well, we always tell them, from the moment of I do, when you turn to face the congregation or the group or wherever you are, you need to know that you're walking into a whole new journey. Just say it this way: covenant changes things. See, before covenant, you can be in a relationship, you can be shacked up. I know people don't like to use those terms. You can be living together for over 10, 20 years. But let me tell you something. Yeah. Until you say the I do and you enter into covenant relationship, that's when things really change.
That's the difference.
And that's when you find out who you really are, whether you were really made to handle this thing called marriage. If the I do really meant I do till death do us part.
That's right.
What does that mean? What is it about anyway? A lot of people don't even understand. They just know they feeling good, they happy, they got joy, and they want to feel that. Love and relationship is not just about emotions. Because that fades real quick. You get a dose of reality from the moment you got to get on the plane, if you have it to get on the plane, and come back to all the things and bills that piled up for you to even get to that moment. So,
and you know what? I want to say something, Sandra, that you said, because my father told me one day, son.
Yes.
My father told me one day when I used to cut grass and we used to go in Conshohocken into these beautiful homes. And I used to always look at these houses and I said, wow, I want a house just like that. And my father said, you sure you want that house? I said, Pop, that's a beautiful home. He said, but I know the people that live there and they're not happy. So you're looking on the outside, but what's on the inside? So we have to be careful what we wish for.
Stay Focused Live. I promote to stay focused. And I used to tell people, appreciate what you have, because you're sitting up here like, oh, they got a nice car, you just don't know that they're 2 payments away from getting repossessed. They're on the verge of losing their house. That marriage that you think is so beautiful, they're either one of them, once they get inside, somebody's beating up somebody. He's cheating, she's somebody. So we always think that what somebody has is always just, but what is they have, you just don't know what they're going through just to keep it. And sometimes this big facade, I don't want to let it go, because if I let it go, if I let this marriage go, people gonna look at me differently. They're gonna judge me. But staying together is not.
Somebody once said, I think I read this on social media somewhere, if the grass is greener on the other side, what are your grass?
Wow.
And a lot of times,
Awesome. That's good. I like that.
I always remember that.
Yes.
And that's what this is. You guys have watered your grass.
Yes.
And it's growing and it's flourishing, and now you're taking that and you're telling other people how to take care of their lawn.
That's right.
I should say this, you're not just people who come up and give marriage advice, you're both certified, am I correct?
Yep, certified counselors.
Tell us a little bit about your professional background.
Well, go ahead.
It's funny. From a little girl, counseling was something that I just always found myself doing. I would always, even as a little girl, adults were drawn to me. So I've always had that conversation. And so my dream, my very first job was at the counseling center at the Wharton School at University of Penn. So that was my first job with the Married Summer Youth Program. And I knew after getting that job that that's what I wanted to do. My goal in life was to actually teach psychology. I could have went to school for the rest of my life, so I thought. That was it. I mean, visions and dreams do change over a period of time. So with time, I wind up actually getting a degree in business as opposed to psychology. But counseling never left me. And so as we once, just really maybe less than 10 years ago, came into a situation within our own marital journey that really caused us to look introspectively, and we began to see that, wow, there's some things going on here, and what do we need to do? And it was through a very traumatic situation and circumstance that actually opened us up to a whole new world of where God was taking us and what this thing was really all about. And so we went straight away. My husband and I both had an awakening, or an epiphany, if you will, to what we were called to do. And though we have been doing couples ministry for over 25 years, we did not realize how impactful our lives was and how much people really were looking from the outside. You just don't know
Yeah.
And so I'm so thankful today that we didn't give up, that we didn't throw in the towel. And it was through that caused us both to go back to school and take that 4-year journey, three and a half year journey at Christian Stronghold to become certified biblical counselors. And then now we're at IBI Institute acquiring our master's degree, and we will soon be receiving our doctoral degree in February.
Well,
So,
Wow.
yeah. So there we
And
go.
you know, for me, I have a different walk. You know, I'm Hispanic. I grew up in North Philly. I just wanted to be a basketball player. I played ball all my life. I played semi-pro in Puerto Rico. I was on drugs, you know, for a long time. I did it all, you know, and I get emotional because, you know, my walk and where I come from, I'm so thankful and grateful to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage people today because it's not where you start and how you start, but it's how you finish and how you endure this race and that we're in,
Yes.
you know, because it's so important to show love, you know. The only way you can be in love is that you have to believe in love
Wow.
to really be in love.
Good.
And back then, I've done so many things, you know, shot at, carry guns. I did all of that. We grew up around Rockies, you know, Sylvester Stallone's area, Lehigh Avenue, where, you know, we used to have, you know, wars and stuff against each other. So I didn't have, I went to Lincoln University and I played ball there, and I was in it was computer science, but I wasn't really into it. I did it for my parents, you know, graduated from high school. But when I met this young lady, it was so different. You know, she was different. She didn't do drugs. She was the only one I had that didn't do drugs. You know, so it was a change. It was different, but I welcomed it because she was my friend. So I found my calling in counseling when I made a mistake in my marriage. I said, honey, I gotta go to counseling now. You know, I apologize. It's a new norm. It's different, but I need help because I love my wife, you know. So I said, you don't have to go. It's just something I have to do. If you go, that's fine. I called the counselors. We went, and I don't know, maybe our 5th or 6th week, I found my purpose to be a counselor.
Can I ask you this? I've never been there. But I've listened. I learned to listen. I learned to come to the realization that marriage is not like a relationship. You get on my nerves. I'm done. This is, as you said, till death do us part.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was that made you say, you know, I need counseling. I don't really. But here's my thing. There's a song out, and I really can't remember how it exactly goes. But in the song, the man is telling her how he cheated, and her version is, well, I cheated too, but there's a child. And when listening to it, during the song, it goes to say that would it have been better not to have told, or should I have told? Now that they told, the truth comes out. It's like, hey, I'm out of here. You know, now she reveals her part. So I ask you this, would it have been better for you to say, you know what, I'm going to deal with this the best way I can and not tell her? Or is it better to have that you did tell her? Because there's some relationships where people are going through some stuff and it's like, I'd rather keep this till death do our part.
Yeah. What I say to that is, then you're going to die a deceiver. You're going to die a deceiver. I believe that if in your heart, regardless of whether there's a child involved or not, and even more so if there's a child, because you don't want that to become a generational situation in the lineage of your family. It is better to be honest and have to deal with what you have to deal with than to just let that go. When you're in covenant, it matters.
Yeah.
True honesty. Laying the cards out on the table and just laying the issues out. How about that? We're not going to deal no cards tonight. That might be somebody's issue today. So I don't want to be leading you down the road, but laying the issues out on the table And being
That's right.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can have security in that. Because that lie is going to beget another lie.
That's right.
It will go on for eternity.
That's right.
But you have the power
Yeah.
to put it to a stop.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to ask you, did you want to say anything?
No, I just wanted to say, in all honesty, of course, the Bible is our instructions. That is our manual. That's our procedure. Just like at work, you have HR department who actually gives you, when you get the job, they give you a manual and you follow your procedures and all. Well, the Bible, the pastor is our HR department, right? Because we have a marriage corporation. So he gives you the Bible, and that's your procedure. And in the Bible, it says, speak all truth and love, right? Matters of the heart. So I couldn't move on from me. I told my brothers, I told my sisters, I told all, because I had to be free. I had to be free.
Yes, good.
I can leave my phone. I can give her my phone anytime, whenever she wants it, anywhere. That's awesome. It's awesome to be able to do that. Not to hide nothing, not to, worry about things and all that. We build too much to lose it in one moment.
Right, and that's all it takes.
One moment. One
moment.
thing. And it's all gone.
All gone.
All gone.
Yes, it's like when he said, about the grass, being greener on the other side, but it's still grass. It's just grass.
Well, the Bible says transform your mind.
Your mind.
And that's what I did. Anything I liked on you or someone else or a lady, I said, I wonder how that look on my wife.
Yep.
I'm going to buy that for my wife.
That's it. You can have it all.
Listen, because listen.
I know.
My pastor, my Bishop Morris, one day he said, and this is years ago, he said, if your wife look like she look, and she don't look the way you want her to look, it's your fault. Because as a man, we're supposed to cultivate. We're supposed to make better. That's our job.
Yep.
So whatever you like, you buy it for.
Yep.
You take care of her. You do for her. And I've always remembered that.
Yeah. Now, there's a flip side to Covenant Rescue 911.
Okay.
The flip side of that is covenant marriages. Covenant marriages was birthed out of a dream and a wake-up call. So I was given a dream, and this is a true story, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, or maybe a little thereafter, and I woke up from a dream, and what I saw was a family, and they were entering a house. And you said it earlier, sister, and you didn't know I was even going to mention this. But they were entering a house. And when I saw them entering a house, it was a mother, a father, and a child. And they all turned around, and they looked at me, and they waved. And we waved, and they smiled. And they turned around, and they went back in the house. And when they went in the house and they closed the doors, I woke up, and God said, there's hurt beyond the walls. There's hurt beyond the walls. And I said, well, Lord, what do you want me to do with that? And all I could do was cry out on behalf of this family that I just watched enter their house. They're smiling at me, but he said there's hurt, there's brokenness, there's some unforgiveness, there's some healing that needs to be done beyond the walls. And I went to bed. My husband was on a business trip, so I was home alone at that point. One of my neighbors in the development community that we lived in at the time, she woke me up again at 5 a.m. And she said, Nefertina, I was in prayer, and God said, whatever he's called you to do, you must do it. She didn't know. I had just had this dream. He had just showed me this family. And so that's how covenant marriages was birthed out. It was because we knew that there are leaders out there. There are entrepreneurs and business owners. There are husbands and wives. There are pastors and first ladies that are suffering in their beyond the closed door situation. They don't understand it. But God has called us to leaders. And so we're here for the world. But I know that we are very, very much so called to leaders because he has allowed us to go through some things. And I was raised as a pre-K kid, so I understand what it is to be a part of a first family and the dynamics and all that comes with that. And a lot of times you're the one crying out in the wilderness, and there's no one really listening because they think you got it all together. They think, oh, you the preacher's kid, you all right, or you will be all right because your daddy is the preacher. But they don't understand. A lot of times daddy don't have time at home, or don't make the time because he believes that his first ministry is to the church.
Right.
And so here we have a lot of families and a lot of first ladies and a lot of evangelists and apostles, and we're walking around pouring out and just falling away because there's no one really pouring back into us. And so covenant marriages, we're that ministry that are like, I say we're likened unto midwives for couples. We walk alongside you in the journey and let you know that you are not alone. Even in your darkest hour, you are not alone. We are here to journey alongside of you.
So is covenant marriage similar in organizational structure to Covenant Rescue 911, where they call you and get, okay?
Not exactly. Covenant marriages is really our workshop. That's where we do our seminars, our speaking engagements.
That's the website.
Yeah, it has it on there under covenant marriages. But we do speaking engagements, we do workshops, seminars. We are an outside the four walls ministry. Right. And so we deal with a lot of things that are outside, that just don't get dealt with. And so hopefully the ultimate goal is that we will begin to have the real talk conversations inside the building. And we will begin to heal the families from inside out. And so that, restoration can come, healing can come, deliverance can come, and families can be rebirthed and restored again back to their rightful place, which is unity and togetherness.
Now, what are the most, and of course I don't want names.
Wow.
When it comes to, and I asked this about covenant marriage and about covenant rescue 911. Let's start with Covenant Rescue 911. I know people have a lot of different issues and et cetera, but what would you two say are the most common issues that people call you in Covenant Rescue 911 concerning?
Infidelity.
Yeah.
I knew that.
That's the number one. The number one thing is infidelity, both ways. It's not just the man.
It's not one-sided.
It's not.
So don't get it twisted. It's not just the men. Women are
women too.
very much so. I mean, it's the tables are turning a little bit right now. So we're finding that women are the ones. Yeah.
And in covenant marriage, the issues, and I know that's dealing towards people in leadership and ministry. What would you say the most common concern that you're hearing?
The most common is that leaders are entrepreneurs. So we had our business for 20 years, plaques, trophies, and awards. So we understand now. Our book comes out next month, which is
I was hoping
we did.
Yeah. I was going to bring the poster so you can see it, but it's called The Marriage Corporation.
Yeah.
Corporate Strategies for Fulfilling God's Purpose in a Covenant Marriage. In the book, we talk about corporate, how you need to be trained to do certain positions in your home. In corporate, they train you every time you get a new position. They train you. So in your home, when you get a new position, you should be trained. Okay? The accounting department, the maintenance department, security department, culinary department, all these departments, the cyber department, because now technology, someone needs to know what's going on with the computers, who's doing the website, who's doing the flyers, the postcard. Well, all of those positions in your home, we have a corporation at home. PGW works for us. PICO works for us. Comcast works for us. All these companies work for us. They provide a service. We pay them. They work. So automatically, even if we didn't have a business, we become entrepreneurs.
Wow.
So the number one thing for marriages right now that we get is how do they separate the business from their home? Now, God gave me something, and he told me that leaders are not always felt, not always seen, but they always felt.
Yeah.
That means you don't have to be boisterous. You don't have to be big and bad to say you the boss. You have to lead by example.
Yes.
And we find that a lot of leaders today don't know how to do that in their homes.
Yeah. So one of the things, with that being said, so that leads us to finances.
Right.
Finances is
That's
one
huge.
of the
That is
biggest
huge.
issues. And I believe it's more so not just that the finances are not readily available, but it is the maintaining and distribution of the finances.
Right.
So being on one accord. And then it is, for me, the sexual, the intimacy.
Yeah.
Intimacy in the bedroom.
Yeah.
A lot of intimacy is being lost, it's unfortunate to say it, to social media.
Yeah.
Social media is a huge interference
It is.
of intimacy in the bedroom. And after that, you have television and all these other distractions. So couples are not having scheduled time together. Because, it's not like it used
Absolutely
to be.
right.
I mean, face it, men and women
Yep.
both need to work in the home in order for it to really function appropriately.
Right.
And even if you're a leader in the church, that, you're executive vice president, she working. Or he's working
Right.
if
That's
the
right.
lady is the pastor.
That's right.
And so what you need to know is there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And you can get overwhelmed as a couple with that. And then the time between you and your mate, I'm stretching my hands further and further apart for the listening audience. Why? Because that's what happens in the bedroom. 2 days, a week, a month, 2 months.
That's
I've
right.
had couples say a year has gone by. And you see them all over the place.
And
you
they look
see
happy.
them doing things. And you see, and they have not even come together as one
Yeah.
in the bedroom. That just can't happen.
Let me ask you, what well, I already know your thoughts. But find it interesting that, as you said, this separation in the bedroom, because that leads to other stuff.
Oh, exactly.
Because when you decide, hey, I can't, or it's not so much I can't, I don't want to.
Can or you won't.
Try to get that close back or try to rebuild. The further I go away, the more attractive he looks. The more attractive I want to listen. The more I listen, the more I stay away. Here come other stuff.
Why the further she goes away, the more attractive I look. Yeah,
Well, okay, but that's
I
it,
get-
because
I get
now
you.
your ear becomes more accepted to listening to other people. Because
Right.
oh my God, here she go. What's the problem? Oh, the marriage, and you start. Here we go. Now you start
Conversation.
that conversation, telling stuff that I told you I've never been married, but you're telling stuff you shouldn't be telling when you're married.
Yeah.
But
Good.
how do you get people that now say, you know what, they find comfort not only not sleeping in the same bed, but not even in the
That's
same
right, too.
house.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. They are amazingly.
But they
we
know they
counseled
like
a
it.
couple. Yeah, we
They
had
get
someone
comfortable.
That was, they get comfortable.
And that's why we don't suggest that the couple ever leave unless it's some type of abusive situation in the home. But we say stay together. We're going to work it out. Communication. The 5 love languages is pretty strong that we do. You have to find out what her love language is. You can't love her the way you want to. You got to love her the way she needs to be loved. I'm touchy-feely kind of guy. But if she's not like that, then she's not going to like my kind of a love language.
Right.
I have to meet her where her love language is. If she likes to just go out, hang out, watch movies, and, for me, I know I clean the house. I got her. My house is clean. She come home, she's honey.
Yes.
Smell good,
Yes.
candles on. You got to know your mate, but you got
Yeah.
to invest.
Yeah.
You got to put time into knowing your mate.
You have to put
You
time into
just
it.
raised
Yeah.
an interesting point,
Mhm.
and you said it earlier. There's a certain amount in any corporation, in any entity, in any position, there's a preparation stage.
Mhm.
And there was a time when, and my old pastor used to say this, he said, in Africa, because he goes to Africa, and he says in Africa, men are raised from childhood to be husbands.
Wow.
And women are raised from childhood
To be wives.
to eventually be wives.
Beautiful.
That's not so in the United States.
No.
What must
And
men do? No, I'm not even going to say men. I'll ask you about the men and I'll ask you about the women.
Okay.
To do to prepare for marriage.
Good question.
Excellent.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
That's a good question. That's right. You want to go first?
Yeah. Well, for a woman, what we have to do is realize that marriage is not just about the emotional aspect. So we have to understand that really the way to a man's heart is through respect. It's going to always be, it was in the word, it was put there for a reason. And if we understand how to respect our mate, you're going to win them over every time. Because, see, marriage is a selfless place.
That's right.
If it's all about you, me, I, then you're in the wrong covenant. Because marriage is really more about how I can be better for that person, how I can be better for me. See, when you're better for you, you're better for them. And so really that's where it's at. It's about knowing who you are, understanding who you are. I tell our couples a lot of times when there's agitation, and we also learned this, but when there's agitation and irritation, because a lot of women, well, he just get on my nerves, or he thinks he do just bother me, or I'm just not interested anymore, or he needs to do something more. What is all that about? Really, you know what it's about? It's about you. You haven't found who you are. You haven't really recognized what you possess. Because as a woman, we can turn a situation, and that person hasn't learned to be her true woman, her true self. See, you gotta start with the person in the mirror, and everything else will reflect out.
Can I ask you just one question? I'm gonna let him ask. Marriage counselors, then be men and women of God. So you know where to go. You got that closet. You got that place. You got that faith. You know your God. How easy or how hard is it to hear somebody's issues and stuff and not bring it home? Because here's the thing. Y'all always going to have an issue. There's going to be a time when y'all have an issue. And I wanted to know, how do you separate your issues and not bring their stuff into your relationship?
That's a very good question. And I say that because being married for 29 years and together for 31, it is, and I'm a very loving and affectionate person. And so a lot of times, and because I have that spiritual side of me, I really can feel people's pain sometimes. And sometimes it can be unbearable, but that's why you have to stay covered. And so it can be challenging not to bring those issues home. But I have this thing where I just believe in doing, and that's called shake the dust. Before I enter my domain, my home, a lot of our conversations that we have that we need to really converse over and talk about or channel out, we let that stuff out in the car. We don't take that in the house with us. I don't even let it park my front door. Because, listen, we got to have it. And if not, then we need to table it until the meeting. And if you're not having meetings at home, that's another thing. You need to schedule regular conversation meetings, regular table talk. Because we don't sit down at the dinner table like we used to, back in the day, and we would talk about it. Now we're just, everybody's in their own corner. We're on this gadget, I'm on that gadget. She's up here doing that. She's down there, he's in the kitchen, whatever. So they're not bringing it home anymore. They're not talking about it. And so you need to have a conference table discussion. And so we teach our couples to do that. Especially those entrepreneurs, because that's mainly who we seem to get, drawn to us. You have meetings at work to talk about what's going good, what needs to be changed, what needs to be better, right? You got to have them at home.
Absolutely right. Yep.
And you were going to answer
your
question.
Your question. So I'm thankful that I was raised with my mother and my father, my brothers and my sisters, and today a lot of children today don't have that and don't have the structure at home. So I think it's very important to have structure. My mother and my father, they made a list for us to do house chores Monday through Saturday. our names was on the side of each thing, whether we was washing walls, dishes, helping, prepping, sweeping. We did all of that. And that prepared us for where we are today. Because what you do growing up, and we call that our personal resume for your marriage corporation. Whether you're married or single, it's still your personal resume for where you are when you get older as an adult. So I'm glad that I had good leaders, as you know, my mother and father. Now they fought, they fussed, they did things, but we didn't know. Good and bad. Good because we saw a healthy relationship. So I know what I wanted when I grew up. I wanted a healthy relationship. I wanted my mother to respect my dad, and I wanted my dad to take care of my mom. And that's what I wanted to do. So now looking at that as role models, and today I think a lot just don't have that role model that's near them. Mentoring, you know, like Bishop Coleman, and we have a lot of good leaders and pastors today that are great role models for men, and we have some for women. But I think it just gets lost in them not really, what is it called, when they're around their peers, they're doing the opposite thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they get lost. So what you said was perfect about Africa, and they're teaching their children how to be men, or to be a husband and to be a wife. They're teaching them how to be good citizens. They're teaching them how to be good people, is what they're doing, and to love themselves. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Right. You can't.
That's good. That's good.
I see you. Almost every other word is attached to God. It's a faith. It's a belief. It's related to. How do you minister that to those who don't believe in God? How do you incorporate that?
Yeah. For those that don't believe in God, we have to let them know that it's very challenging. Because without God, we couldn't do this. See, God instituted marriage.
Right.
We have to be honest. We have
it's
to be
the foundation.
True. And we have counseled, I won't say an atheist, but we've counseled people that really have lost touch with God and who He is, and they still wanted counseling.
Right.
Why? Because they're still searching. They're still seeking. So we have to still be that representative, and we have to still exemplify what we know to be is true. Right. That's the only way we can be. And so if you don't know Him, we try to help you to get to know who God is from a very personal perspective, not just this broad person or thing or whatever you know people think Him to be, but who He is. And so we've even had a couple come that was. Her husband was Muslim. My dad is Muslim. So, I understand the Muslim faith. My first cousin is Jehovah's Witness. I understand the witness faith.
Right.
And it's okay because no matter what, we can all still inspire one another. We can still encourage one another to be better. To be better. Yeah. And so in your marriage relationship, it's going to be very tough to war against anything. If you don't have nothing living on the inside to help you work that stuff on the outside together.
One thing my pastor said, Bishop Morris, again, he said that, our overseer, he said that, everybody believes in something. And what if there is a God?
I said that to God.
Yes. What if there is a God?
I did.
Yeah.
We gain the whole world, right? We gain the whole kingdom, right? And if there's not a God, what did we lose by loving people?
Yes.
And treating people right with respect. What did we lose? We didn't lose anything.
A friend of mine had felt disconnected from God when he watched his mother die, and then eventually his children's mother. And it was like, God doesn't do that. Why would God do that? So our friendship, or what was trying to be like mutual friends, sort of like, because I can't be around, and that's just me, I can't be around someone who, as I'm saying, oh, thank you, God, oh, Jesus, there might be a slip, I say it out loud, or I won't call it a slip, and then I'm standing next to someone who is always trying to get me to stop, to hinder, put a pause, to stop it. Yeah, like no, there's no God, and it's like okay, that's like annoying to me because you know I'm given, and I get the part where as though he doesn't, and I do, I get that, but I've never said, you know, I've never tried to shove or corporate or force God down his throat.
Right,
but
that's right.
on my side, I need you to respect that because at one point I tried to give him to understand you did believe, acknowledge there was a God until the death came. So our friendship sort of like I cut all ties and everything, and then we resurfaced again. So we're like social media, texting and stuff, but it's kind of interesting to be around somebody who doesn't share that faith, and like you said, if you don't have it, it's like dead inside. But trying to get somebody to understand that, as you put it, and I told him that, I said, but what if there was a God? You know, and he said, well, what if there isn't? But I'm like, okay, but what if there is? Just what if there is? You know, and then what? You have nothing to lose, you know.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose, you know.
Yeah.
So, hey, if there isn't a God, I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know, I just gave praises to some fictitious being. But if there is a God, then what?
Well, I love our current bishop now, Pastor J. Lewis Fulton.
Love that man.
Mount Airy Church of
that
God
man.
in
That
Christ.
I love that man.
Yes, and we do too. One thing I love is that he's very much about education. Along with that, and I believe, you know, even more so, he is really about relationship.
Yeah.
So your relationship with God. And, you know, it's just simple. You be ashamed of me, I'll be ashamed of you. And so it's very important that we don't allow ourselves to be pulled into things that will cause us to be separate and apart from our relationship. If anything, they should be drawn by the life and the light that lives inside of us.
Right.
And so all I say for people that are non-believers is that, you know, but yet are drawn to me, it's not me. It's not Nefertina. No, that's the light that shines from within that they're really drawn to. So I just keep on living and let my life speak for me.
That's right.
And, you know, and I believe that at some point those souls will be won back. I don't give up. I don't give up. I don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up.
I give them over to God, and I will continue to pray for them. And I've learned in this life, for the years that I've been on this planet, sometimes we have to love people right where they are.
Yeah.
We have to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because they have their journey that they have to take.
Yeah.
And we have to allow them to grow through their journey as well.
I mean, I stepped back,
That's right.
you know, and I prayed. You know, it was interesting when we got, you know, he hit me, I seen him and everything, but, you know, it was like most of my friends, you know, because I as I'm trying to draw near, I didn't need someone in my life who was trying to pull me back.
Right.
So, like, and when I'm saying, like, when I was trying, like, I had the funkiest attitude, so I didn't need you in my life when I'm trying to get over that, and you're pulling me back in. It's
That's
like,
right.
okay, I'm doing a tug of war without a rope. So my spirit with your spirit,
Because it's a spirit,
I still got a funky. I'm not claiming it, but I ain't claiming it.
Trying to get it together.
It's gonna be over with, but it's okay.
Attitude adjustment.
I need an attitude adjustment, but it's okay, Satan, because you ain't gonna witness.
That's right.
Listen, that's right. You know the end of my story. It says I have the W-I-N.
That's
Yes.
right.
The
We win.
V-I-C-T-O-R-Y.
Yeah.
We have
Yes.
victory and we're winners.
That's right.
So women,
That's right.
because you know I've been flooding social media,
Yeah.
but yo, somebody needs to reach you. Somebody
Alrighty.
don't know. Hey, how do
If
they
I
go
wasn't on
about?
the air, I'd be calling you right now. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna call anyway.
No, but it's yeah. Even
But
being
how do
single
they
is
get
good
to
to call.
reach you?
They get to reach us.
Well, we have our website, www.covenantmarriagesinc.com. You can reach us at .org, themarriagecorporation.com, covenantrescue911.com. Our website actually is housing everything. YMM magazine, Your Marriage Matters magazine is on there as well. So everything is actually there. Facebook is it Covenant Marriages?
It's Covenant Marriages on Facebook, on Instagram. We're CMI Marriages. And we're on Twitter as well, CMI Marriages. And so if you just do CMI Marriages, you will connect with us for Covenant Marriages CovenantMarriagesInc.com.
And YouTube as well.
Oh, wow, they have social media.
Yeah, you can find a lot of our videos.
Yeah, a lot of our videos
you can
out there.
Google them, and they will pop up if you just put in Nefertina or Richard Serrano. The videos will pop up. We also have a phone number, and that number is 215-550, I believe it's 74. Sorry. 215-550. Yes. 1747. I'm so sorry. I just had a mental block. I apologize. So if you want to reach us by phone and you do need to call us, you can call us at 215-550-1747, or you can reach us at 855-RESCUE-911. That's 855-RESCUE. That's RESC 911.
Which translates into 737-2911.
Absolutely. Yeah.
855-737-2911. Thank you both
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't wait
for the book
to come out.
I can't wait so I can start getting married so I can go get me some counseling because I'm calling them up.
Before you get married. Premarital counseling.
Premarital, yes. I need it right now.
That's right.
But I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all coming out here. I thank you so much. You know, like I said, I've been flooding social media like, yo, 911, y'all need to. And it's not just the cop thing. Like,
that's right. That's right.
It's not just it's a spiritual, it's a mental, it's a we need it.
That's
so,
right.
But I appreciate y'all coming out here. Thank the last minute. I'm like, yes, came out here. I'm like, yeah, they ripping the roads and managed to get here safely and go home safely.
Yes.
But I appreciate it. I appreciate your time and she in here blushing and he in here. Like, I don't know if it was date night. Did you see the face? Like, well, they should have been here.
You need to see this.
And if you're single, desiring to be married,
that's right,
and you still need to work on you, listen, the marriage CEOs are right here. We can be your coaches today, so that you can go into that thing. Remember, you are never or half anything.
That's
you want to go into a marriage whole and complete, giving 100, so he can bring his 100, and that makes what? 200. There we go.
Y'all learned math today.
You heard it first.
That's right.
So we thank you so much. Thank you.